Team, we have a really important session today and we're talking about who you are when nobody's watching, your identity. And we're talking, this is identity shift. So we're into week 4 of the month and you know the phases we've got identity shift. And it's really important to kind of understand that who you are when nobody's watching could be holding you back, okay? So we're gonna be brutally honest here to start with. Most people, when they join the coaching program or they've got a goal or you could be really motivated in the moment, show up brilliantly. Workout's done, check-in's done, getting your food on point, you know, you're logging and tracking, all that kind of stuff, eat really well. Then Monday rolls around 1 week, you're knackered, you're tired, you're starving hungry because you've been in a dieting phase for a while. The week gets busy, nobody's checking in, all right? Nobody's checking on you. You could be sat at home, your family might have gone out to do some sports or something, or you might just be at home alone one evening and the biscuits are calling your name, right? And you're thinking, oh, you know what, it's okay, I'll have those, and then nobody's watching, so I'll have them. It doesn't count if nobody's watching, right? I know this because I've been there myself in the past, and I'm sure a lot of you watching this now or listening to this have been or are going through a similar thing at the moment. And you might think, oh, it's a lack of discipline. Well, it is to a certain extent, but it's more of an identity issue. It's more of transforming who you are in that moment to somebody who doesn't do that, okay? We want to try and build the version of yourself that isn't doing those things, and that just becomes part of your character. It becomes a part of your personality. It becomes a part of who you show up as every single day. So I don't want you to feel like it's a major flaw. Obviously, it's not helping you by any stretch of the imagination. It's not going to help you get results. It's not going to help you with your self-esteem. So you're sabotaging, you're self-sabotaging your results and your self-esteem doing this, but it isn't just going to be eradicated by saying, don't do that. We need to transform your identity to change that, okay? So hopefully this is making sense. The reason I'm speaking quite passionately about this is that I've been there, guys. I've been there. I've got a t-shirt with this. And it's like I said, it's all very well and good, and you could be going through the day and you're messaging me or whatever, we're speaking throughout the course of the day and you're feeling on it, you're tracking your food, and then it just gets to the evening, you have 3 glasses of wine, you just log 1, you know? You have 5 or 6 biscuits, you just log 2. You know, those little things. And if you're doing that 2 or 3 times a week, that really adds up. And that could be a reason why you might not be getting the results you want, or you might not be feeling great about yourself, okay? And the gap is holding you back, right? There's a version of you that exists in public, capable, focused, someone who's got their life together. You know, we always portray that stuff to people, don't we? Even if it's not necessarily 100% real. And then there's the private version, okay? The one who makes decisions at 10 p.m. when willpower's completely run dry, the one who skips the walk because, you know, nobody's gonna know if you skip that walk, the one telling themselves they're gonna start again or sort it out on Monday, you know? Most people live in that gap and they don't even realize it, right? You can be absolutely brilliant at your job, you could be an amazing parent, someone people genuinely look up to, and still privately be at war with the basics of your own health. And I'd imagine a lot of people still battle with this. And to be honest, guys, I'll call a spade here. I do as well. You know, at times I still struggle with this. However, I've got the experience to kind of pull myself through it and realize, you know what, the version of the person that I am trying to become won't do that, won't succumb to that, okay? And like I said, the gap isn't a character flaw, but it is costing you, and it can cost you every single week. So why does this happen? Well, motivation is very much a public emotion. It spikes when you join a program. It spikes when you've got a goal, like run a marathon, or you want to hit a PB, or you've got a wedding coming up, or you've got a holiday coming up. Yeah, it spikes. And it could be when you post about it on social media, it spikes, we get motivated. Then it can disappear when nobody's in the room, okay? And this is the dangerous thing we're talking about. So the spike is when motivation surges, when you sign up for something, you post about it, you get a compliment, you feel unstoppable. The collapse is when you're tired on a Tuesday evening, work's been a shit show, no one's watching you, and then the strategy you've built kind of falls apart because we're leading with our emotions. We just kind of you might be stressed out, you might be tired, you might be emotional. We just lead with those emotions. We don't think logically, and we just kind of go down the route of making ourselves feel comfortable, which generally comes in the form of food. Now, the fix to this is that we need to build habits so solid they run on autopilot without motivation, okay? And the private you becomes indistinguishable from the public you, so it synergizes, it becomes one thing. And the goal is to not find more motivation, because I think that people think that's the holy grail. It's not, guys. Motivation is pretty much an unreliable source to get you to where you want to be in life, okay? The goal is to build something that doesn't need an audience to function. It doesn't need you to be with a friend or with a family member to stop you eating those foods late at night, for example, okay? That is the fix, and that's what we're trying to do here. So what integrity actually means in this context. Well, integrity in health is doing what you said you'd do, even when it's bloody inconvenient, even when you cannot be asked to do it. That is integrity with health and fitness. When nobody will even notice if you don't do it, if you still show up and do it, that is the pinnacle, guys. That is what we're after, okay? And that is what I've ingrained into my life. And even when I feel like, oh, I want to have some ice cream at night or whatever, and I don't do it, it's because I've built that level of kind of self-trust and integrity in my health and fitness that I know that there's no point doing it. And I know that even if no one's there, I will still feel a little bit kind of like disappointed in myself for caving in. And it's all about switching into a logical mindset from an irrational kind of emotional mindset, okay? So it's not about being extreme, it's about being consistent with the basics. You don't have to be Mother Teresa with your health and fitness. Even, I don't know if she was fit and healthy, Mother Teresa, but she was a saint, wasn't she? So I think she was a saint anyway. But anyway, you don't have to be Mother Teresa. Gone off on a slight tangent there. But we need to be mega consistent with the basics. So small decisions made privately every single day, that's what builds a body and lifestyle that lasts. So next time you're on your own and you are craving something from the kitchen, I want you to think about the person you want to become. Would the person you want to become cave into that? And the answer is friggin' no, all right? So that's what we need to get to. We need to build that character resilience even, sorry. So, did you train when you planned to, or did you negotiate and find a way out? Did you talk yourself out of it? Human beings, we are very good at negotiating with ourselves to talk ourselves out of doing difficult things, okay? Did you get your steps in, or did you tell yourself you'll do it tomorrow instead and catch up tomorrow? Then tomorrow becomes the next day, then the next day. And did you eat in a way that aligned with what you're trying to go, where you're trying to go and who you're trying to be? Or did you just do whatever was easiest and just succumb to that kind of comfort zone bubble that I've been talking about, okay? How in those three questions there, have any of those impacted you in your life recently, okay? Then we have the self-trust equation I want to talk about here. So every time you follow through on something you committed to yourself, you make a small deposit into your self-trust account, all right? And every time you don't do it, you make a withdrawal. So every time you don't follow through on something you've committed to, you're not building self-trust, you're not building self-esteem, and you're not setting a good example for yourself. And I spoke about this recently as well. If you've got kids and you're kind of not quitting on things, but not following through with difficult stuff, and I don't want to sound harsh about this, but what kind of example is that setting to your kids or your niece and nephew or your friends or your partner? What kind of example is that setting? Okay, and like I said, that's not meant to be horrible by any stretch of the imagination, but it's meant to be realistic and it's meant to be kind of cut through the bollocks a little bit here. So we want to be setting an example for ourselves first and foremost, set an example for the people around us, but also depositing that self-trust into your account rather than withdrawing that self-trust from your account. Does that make sense? Okay, now most people are operating from a self-trust deficit. They've broken promises to themselves so many times that they stop believing in themselves. They stop believing in what they can achieve. You've probably been through this, and I see this again all the time. People don't believe in themselves to achieve X, Y, and Z. If you want to get in great shape, if you want to improve your health, if you want to run a marathon, the amount of times people say, oh, I couldn't do that, I can't do that. We've just been bombarded and battered down to the point where we just don't believe in anything. So this is what I want to do. I want to lift you all up, and I want you to believe what you can achieve is like literally the sky is the limit, guys. And we've got one opportunity at this life to achieve these things. Let's freaking go for it. Yeah, let's absolutely go for it. I don't give a shit about what anyone's thinking, what anyone's saying. You give this your all. You do everything you can to achieve your health and fitness goals. And honestly, it will change your life. It really, really will. It's changed my life. You should have seen me 20 years ago, guys. Honestly, I was a pitiful version of myself, no self-esteem, would love to have lived under a rock, to be quite honest. Now look at me, I'm screaming down a camera lens teaching you guys about how to do this, okay? And I go on camera every single day. That's just something that it doesn't just happen overnight. I built that over time by self-trust, depositing into this self-trust. And now I could not give a shit about what anyone thinks about me walking down the street, doing a video, whatever. It doesn't matter to me, honestly, because I trust myself that it's going to take me to where I want to be eventually, okay? And it's the same with you guys, with your health and fitness. You need to trust yourself, but you can only do that by not breaking promises to yourself and keeping kind of structured. Confidence doesn't come from hype or positive affirmations, looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm amazing. It doesn't happen like that. It comes from stacking evidence, a stack of small moments where you did what you said you were going to do. It's quite straightforward. So if you stack those up for 6, 7, 8 weeks, something will start to shift. You stop asking yourself whether you will do it, because you just will do it then. And that's because you are becoming that person. So you'll stop doubting, you'll stop the self-doubt, and you'll start that self-belief. So, example here, 2 sessions in a week, done. No negotiation, no excuses. 3 meals every single day with a bit of protein in, done, boom. 8 weeks to kind of change your life, you'll sort of really start to transform your habits basically in 8 weeks. Stack those small wins. That will build to an identity change. 8 weeks is enough time to really build the solid foundations to springboard on if you do this kind of stuff every single day and instill that self-belief. Because I still see it a lot with you guys. Self-belief is a big issue for most people, and it's pretty much everybody, in modern society. Self-belief is very much a kind of very much a commodity, and we need to build it up, okay? And I want you to start doing these things, like if you are craving crisps at night, say to yourself, no, I'm not going to do it. Be proud of yourself, and then build that self-belief and trust in yourself that you can do that, okay? Closing the gap here now. So 3 things to work on this week. No fluff, we're just going to do them, all right? Pick one non-negotiable. Protect it like it means the world to you. Not when it's convenient. Every day this week, regardless of what else is happening, you protect that one non-negotiable. It could be 10,000 steps a day. It could be getting protein every meal. It could be hitting 3 workouts. Protect it with your life. Secondly, notice the private decisions, okay? When you're about to skip something because nobody's watching, pause for 2 seconds, think logically, think rationally, ask yourself, would the person I'm trying to become, would they do this in the future? No, you don't have time to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be aware of the situation. Stop for 2 seconds, breathe, and go, okay? And stop waiting to feel like it. This is a big one. The version of you who has the results you really, really crave doesn't wait for motivation. That version of you want to become just does the thing. They just get it done. So start acting from that place even before it feels natural. Almost a case of faking it till you make it. Act like that person every single day. What would they do every day? Before you know it, you will be that version of yourself, okay? And it will become second nature, all right? It will eventually feel natural. And that is the whole point. It's not going to start with, but it will eventually, okay? So your action task here, because it's really important, and I want you to do this as well. If I could only see your private choices this week that no one else sees, what would they tell me about your health and where it sits on your priority list? So if I could only see those this week, those actions that you do when nobody's around, when it's late at night, what would that say about your health actions? And where would it sit currently on your priority list? Is it a major importance, okay? Not what you say it is, what your actions say it is. So if you are eating stuff in the evening, maybe having a couple of glasses of wine extra, those kind of things, just have a little think about it. Is that helping you achieve the vision of yourself that you want to achieve, okay? Just take 5 minutes and just have a think about it, okay? So your identity foundation, write down one habit you consistently do well in private. This is proof that you can do it. We're going to build from there. So what do you do really, really well in private? Do you not have the biscuits? Or have you restrained from having the takeaways 3 times a week or having an extra glass of wine? Write it down, okay? We need to build that self-belief. It's not all about seeing what's wrong. We need to see what's right as well, okay? So your target this week is write down one habit you consistently let slide when nobody's watching. That's your gap. That's your work. So we're going to name the habit you let slide. We're going to close the gap just this week. So you're going to really work hard on it this week and then drop a message with where your gap is, okay? So 2 things there. You're going to write down one habit you consistently do well in private, and you're going to write down one habit you consistently let slide when nobody's watching as well, okay? This is all about building identity. We're going to close the gap between who you show the world and who you actually are when it's just you. And that's where the real results will come to fruition, okay? So hopefully, guys, this has made sense. You can probably tell I'm very passionate about this because I really, it frustrates me when people think so little of themselves, when the self-belief and self-esteem is so low, and we need to build that up. And I'm trying to give energy through the screen here so you can build that up, okay? So anyway, let me know if you've got questions about this. It's a big one, so I'd expect there probably are, and I'll speak to you really soon, okay? You know where to find me if you need me.